Okay, so this is just a very quick update about the changes we've made to moles, the admin interface. Just a quick refresh about the main bits about how moles are set up. You've got the observation, which describes some data in the archive. It's connected to a project, which is the reason why, through a thing called the in support of in the admin interface. The project record will then link back to its collection, and then the collection will link up to the number of observations needed within that collection. The observation also has a procedure which is describing how the data were collected, and that will either be an acquisition, a composite, or a computation. Today I'm going to be focusing on an acquisition, which is basically real life sort of observations as opposed to computations which are produced by an algorithm or a model, and a composite which is a mishmash of stuff. So first thing we're going to focus on is this change in how we link observations with projects. Now, the current situation is that you can just link one observation to one project, and then through the project parent-child relationships, you can then show connections between programs, projects, and field campaigns, that sort of hierarchy. What we've done is we've actually changed the way that an observation connects to projects by allowing you to add in more than one project for an observation. And this is really important for where you have unrelated projects that data were collected for, or you've got a changing in the funding stream for an ongoing facility. So the unrelated projects are really good for things like fan flights, where the aircraft took off and we've got the data which is in the archive represented by one observation for the flight, but it's collected for two completely different projects. Say, for example, appraise and say Diamet, not that the two ever really existed together. So that's what we've done and why we've made the change. But be careful. If you know you can represent a parent-child relationship using the parent-child relationship of the projects, please make sure you use that mechanism and don't try and duplicate it inside this many-to-many connection between an observation and multiple projects at this level, because we'll sort that out in the admin interface. So just to show that in the admin interface now, if we jump in to moles and we have a look at an observation record, it'll eventually load. Let's quickly show project as well. So here we are, here's an observation, and if we scroll down, we'll find the project list section, which is a changed admin interface. Now you just need to type in here, so I could go for Met Office, search term, and I can come up with lots of different Met Office projects, and then I could select multiple projects. So if I was to save and continue editing that one, and then view on the site, you'll now see in support of one project, two projects, three projects. There you go. And of course, that means that this data set should also be now shown on each of these three projects. If we get the related data sets, it should be in here. That's the original one. Here's the Met Office one, and there it is. It's appeared there. And likewise, inside the Nimrod, there it is. I was going to quickly remove that because this is on the live server. So just to remind you that inside a project record, you do have this parent project that you can link it to here. For example, link next map back to itself, which is a bit strange, but there we go. That's where you would do the parent-child relationship within a project. So the second thing that we've done is we've made an alteration to this part of an acquisition called an instrument, allowing an instrument group to be created with sub-instruments. Themselves will be reusable objects. It's primarily been brought in to allow us a mechanism to describe and to connect together what we call core instruments for the FAM aircraft, where we'd have one record which would describe all the FAM core instrument group, and then we can add in the instruments as we need to, as we get information. And this gives us a way to then link a particular abbreviation or from an instrument in the CEDAW file name convention up to a particular record, and then pick up these other records that aren't described in file naming conventions otherwise. So to show that one, if we just jump straight to the admin interface again, eventually we can find the instruments. Extra comma there, just remove that. We will find the sub-instruments type here. So you then be able to go in and add in a number of sub-instruments. So to show how that looks, go to the details section. There's the list of sub-instruments. It doesn't affect those sub-instruments, except for by saying, okay, now they've got a connection back to the parent instrument. So that's it. That's the two major changes which have happened in the admin interface, and how it's represented in the user interface. Let's start this